Hi, everybody. I'm that girl goddess. I want to talk about a sensitive subject like divorce. It seems as though this season, so many people are getting a divorce. And we all know that God hates divorce. And sometimes you need to get a divorce. I'll be honest. Because the hardness of people's hearts. Moses said it best. And sometimes a lot of female feel like they can't go forward or they're used good, they're broken, they don't understand why. But sometimes God allow things to happen because sometimes you can make an idol out of your spouse. Sometimes God sees what you don't see when they're not around. And it can be opening doors that can really harm you. Sometimes it's not that your love is bad. It's just that the person that you're loving don't deserve it, don't appreciate it. And some people see love, and I always told people this. Some people's allergic to love. They're allergic to intelligence. They want to see themselves as so irresistible, whether they a woman or man. They look so good that could nobody resist. And that's how they brag. They brag to people by saying, this person loves me. This is the hook to my earring. This person loved me because they willing to give me everything. And I look so good they can't resist it. And their arrogance sometimes disqualifies them for you. Because a lot of people will make it off of you and then step on your head, step on your heart, and nastily they will speak to you and say things to insult you because they feel like they elevated and now you're beneath them and you was their very strength. Okay. And a lot of men will say, well, don't help a man because a man, when you give him help, he gonna treat you like dirt. Not always true. I seen a lot of women help men through and they was at their lowest. And that man honored that woman in such a way, it was remarkable. And that just goes to show a man with character will express his gratitude. He won't use you. A woman, you know, that appreciate a blessing coming into her life is not willing to lose you. They're not willing to give up something of value for nothing and chase nothingness. Sometimes people are mentally and spiritually not awoke, not mature enough to recognize a good thing until after they fumbled it. Some people don't realize how marriage is not for the weak. Because when you get married, a lot of forces, deities, people, they do anything to destroy your marriage. Now they gonna suffer some consequences because God don't play about marriage. Even when Abraham said Sarah was his sister, when that man tried to talk to Sarah and he didn't even touch her, his whole household was cursed. And God basically told him, you a dead man if you touch that woman. God don't play about marriages and covenants, but sometimes God got to separate. And sometimes divorce is best because a person mindset. When a person has lived low most of their life, all they know is being savage and scrambling and willing to do anything to get ahead. Those are the kind of people that is the hardest to love. And I know some women, they like for people to see how strong their love is. Me, not so much. Because I tell you, it was a time when I got married and you blew too hard, I was out. You know, the marriage I'm in right now, I look at God and I say, why? A lot of times. Because I feel I deserve more. And that's the honest to God truth. I do. I'm a high value woman. One with not and degrees and college and occupations don't make you high value. What makes you high value is your character and your integrity. And I'm a blessing. I walk with a God that he already told me I was a blessing. But anybody who mess over me, he's going to give them a harsh lesson. Me, and I didn't choose. I just went into prayer and God guided me. But sometimes the tests, the foolishness within people can be so horrific. Because people like to play in your face and see the fact that I am Indian, form. I don't believe in arguing. I don't believe in a household that does not have no peace. But I'm not going to accept stuff. I may not say nothing, but I may go in the room and start packing your things. Okay? Or you leave and the house is empty. I'm just not a person who's going to sit up and accept disrespect and abuse like nobody should. And I understand you can forgive somebody, but forgiveness don't mean a person is not going to suffer the consequences of their actions. I'm friends. I'm cool with my ex. Periodically, he'll call me and, we'll talk and, we can laugh on the phone and, we both say, oh, good thing. It's best that we're not together. Okay. And that's cool. Because some things I did out of foolishness. It's better to marry than to burn. And I didn't want to go celibate no more. So we got married. And Lord knows that's something we shouldn't have not done. But we understood it and we moved on. And we're friends. We're cool. But a lot of marriages today, and I've seen people been together 10 years. And this is why I always tell women this. But I'm saying they've been together 10 years, get married, and that man or that woman cheat on them, steal from them, and they done live for years. Okay? And they thought that the most wonderful day of their life became the beginning of a Freddy Krueger nightmare. And then they get divorced, children involved. And when God say unequally yoked, sometimes unequally yoked is this person don't have the same amount of character as you. This person has no integrity, no work ethic, not responsible for bills. They run around like a child. We females call them F-boys. They want to walk around and act like they're adults, but their mind is somewhere around a 5-year-old that just engages in adult intimacy. But outside of that, they're not wrapped too tight mentally. They ignore all of the spiritual consequences and they can be in church their whole life, but they don't know God for themselves. And this causes a problem because they have no fear of the Most High. And they'll do anything. And they see life as a game and they can run back to their relatives and stay. And the men get in an argument or these females and go home to mama and go home to daddy. And, and the family will do anything just to see you go through because they have no character, no integrity. A lot of them are not married. And life is a game. They don't have no one, don't want you to have no one. They don't honor God and don't want you to be treated with love and respect. They hate to see, because I came from a family where they all served the devil. Okay? Adopted family, but still. And I had to work and labor for whatever. And that part doesn't bother me. Okay? That doesn't bother me. But at the thought of them, oh, she married. That means if you get married, you get a promotion. They want to spiritually attack you in any kind of way. If you introduce your significant other, they want to have the harshest things to say. They'll do anything out of jealousy. And I tell you, they won't even get up and push a time clock. But get mad if you go buy a new car. They don't love nobody. All they did was trick their life. Slept with so many. Nowadays you talk to somebody, if they 35 and under, they probably, by the time they've been adults 3 years and slept with at least 200 people. And people feel that they get married, that number don't have to stop. There's a lot of wives crying now because not only did they get STDs, they got incurable. Okay? They have children and don't know if they're going to see the next day. And then this person abandons them. Then their secrets come out. It's out here nowadays. I tell people, it's really, really bad out here. The mindset of people is so foolish, so cruel, so inhumane. And God may be getting ready to do judgment like they need to deal with. But I just want to tell those people who have to get divorced because their significant other was a clown, was foul, had no character or integrity. I just want to tell you that God can give you better. You just got to allow him to heal your heart. You have to press for better. Don't keep going to a source that's going to just keep stabbing you for no reason. It's just a joke. Because I have seen this a lot of time. Them very ones who do it, when they get through messing over a good person, baby, when I say God have a bunch of whoop butt for them, I have seen people get to the point they unalive themselves thinking that they was going to escape, only to get a judgment worse than that. I mean, everything they touched, and the illusion looked so good, had that man, okay, he was that 7-figure man or woman, and he got with somebody, got married, thought he was on top of the world. And the very woman that he confessed all this to and put down a big bill on the house and all that kind of stuff, what happened? I done seen some of them, their relatives came and unalived. The person they married, person that was involved with, unalived them. Although some of them didn't just become unalived, some of them became paralyzed and was in the wheelchair. Some of them, for some reason, and I was like, well, why did they go to prison? They wasn't even around. They went to prison. I seen someone literally serve almost 10 years in prison for something they didn't do. And it was God's judgment. Some of them thought they looked so good and got in a car accident, the flames went up and their whole face was screwed up for life. And they had to hope and pray somebody want to be around them. We can't overthrow God's judgment, but just know that you still have a future. Because when they come out of something like that, God got a can of whoop butt on them. that the devil be standing there saying, oh my Lord. The angels grab their mouth and be like, oh, Lord, please have mercy. It be so bad. I done seen people, everything they touch went down. Bought that beautiful home. A flood came and moved it. Their insurance didn't pay for it, and they just paid off the house. Had that 7-digit figure, got terminated on a lie. I done seen them get married, get in a car accident, and like I say, end up going to prison. Crazy stuff. So if you know that you did what was right and was a blessing, the lesson is not for you. Even if God told you to marry that person, sometimes God uses you to be the door to deal with somebody else. You proved yourself, so God has a prize for you. In this day and age, it's very few good people in the world. Because these people nowadays, they in the whales of sin. It's so many abominable acts that even being single is a blessing. And I'm not saying single and fornicating because, fornication is one of them sins God say he gonna send you to hell for. And he'll spew you out. Don't go out here trying to mess around with these people and just say, well, I just want to satisfy my flesh. Because your flesh can invite some things that you can't get rid of. Your flesh can open a door to a demon. And most of these people, they got so many demons on them. You probably need 1 million Catholic churches, priests, nuns to help do an exorcism on them. And they be doing exorcism for the next 10 years. And these people have only got rid of probably 5% of the mess they got in them. Sometimes you got to thank God that he delivered you from evil. Sometimes you got to thank God that he allowed a divorce. Because I look at some women and I don't know why they stand. The man be beaten. Well, let me say DV be going on. And they stand. They believe they're going to forgive them and love them more. And it get worse and worse and worse. Till they have no more days left on this side of the grave. And I done seen men, they family go in and do the most horrendous stuff too. Females, you get on them dating apps, you think you meeting this pretty, devil had already sent her to you. It was just a test. And everybody know the devil only come to kill, steal, and destroy, and then laughing at you. Some of them, and this guy told me one time he went to go see her, met up with her. They went to go to a room and he told her where they was going. And when he got there, his back door was hurt. You know what I'm talking about. They robbed him, beat him, took his vehicle somewhere. The police still ain't found it. Okay. You could have chopped it up or sold it and got some money off of it. People do crazy stuff like that. The mindset of people nowadays is so full of evil that if you are halfway intelligent or sane, you'll be traumatized at the thought of meeting someone. We living in the last day in evil times. And I know a lot of times when I talk to God, he just tells me what he has for me is beautiful. How my story that he wrote for me is going to be beautiful. But until you get there, if you wonder what I'm looking at one eye, the eye on this side. It's turning blue. This one not. My eyes do that. They change colors. And I'm looking at it to him like, okay, when are you going to go brown? But it make me feel like a dog with a split eye dog sometimes. But nonetheless, you know, don't be so hesitant and take on years of unnecessary evil just to say you stood through your marriage. Don't try to prove you love someone they did you wrong and you got divorced, and we seen the Tyler Perry movies, and then somehow your ex spouse get brought back to your house. They've been in an accident and you take care of them. Because I tell people, I probably send them to a nursing home. Okay. Once I'm done, I'm done. I don't have time for stuff like that. I really don't. I tell people you can be right here, got married today, and tomorrow, if I feel like I'm going to be harmed or something is going wrong, I separate then. I'm just a person who don't want to go through a horrendous story. And I've been through a horrendous childhood. I'm not willing to walk that thing. If somebody don't want to do their part, I just tell people, well, I'm not Jesus Christ who got on the cross and died for your sins. You're going to have to figure it out between you and your God, because I'm out. I wait on God instruction. But in the midst of waiting, I'm going to build and heal, okay, and position myself for a blessing. Because I know God has something wonderful for me, because I'm a wonderful person. And I look at a lot of people, sometimes we're too nice. Because to be honest, especially females, these men have went to those wayward women, the strange woman that God wrote about in Proverbs and said their path leads to death and destruction, and Jezebels and Delilahs and some even a million times worse than them. Female demons of the flesh. A widower, the black person, the woman with the black widow spirit. Okay. And they bitter. And they want to take things out on you because they can't let go, because this person, I believed in them. I spent all my money and I did this and worked 2 jobs. They tore up all my furniture, found out none of the children were mine. And yeah, and then some of them, you find out that he got a whole 2 other families outside of you. And I'm here to tell you didn't do nothing wrong. Somebody who's low vibing, has no character, evil, they hate you without a cause. It has nothing to do with you. It's a character and integrity check. It's a manhood check. It's a womanhood check. Because if they was a real man, they would just say, I don't want to be with you, handle it the right way, and leave, and not try to shame you. It's the same thing with you men. If that woman was doing all that, all them kids ain't yours, and you've been married, let me tell you something. If she was a real woman, she would never been cheating on you. She wouldn't be wanting to do something to shame you. She wasn't no real woman. Like the Bible calls them silly women laden with sin. Some females and men may be in the devil's camp and be one of his generals. And then you say, well, why? Sometimes God wants you to stand because he's going to use you to bring down a great judgment. God works in mysterious ways. And he already knows if something going to last, if it's not going to last. But only thing I can tell you is have your guidance, protect yourself, be wise about some things, and turn loose evil. I can't say don't give somebody a second chance. That's something God will have to tell you, because God know their path. Because if you leave it up to me, if you got to argue every day, I say get a divorce. If you ask me, I don't have it in me. I come from a peaceful people. My children and people, they don't interfere in my personal life or business. But I made them understand this when I was like 14, 15. Whatever I choose in my life, if I don't ask you for help, don't start your drama. Because I'm going to fight for my blessing. And I don't care who I take down. Okay? Because all these relatives, I tell people, I know what family is. Family can be blessing blockers. Family connive against you harder than people that you don't even know. Okay? Family be the reason you get in some of the worst positions. They'd be the ones who ask you to co-sign, have a good job, and never make a payment. And mess up your credit. Family will come in and steal your identity and do all kind of crooked, evil stuff. And you may be looking at, you may go to prison. Yeah. Those are the people that we call family. If you hungry, they'll sit up and laugh at you, but you can't spend not one night in their house, even though you put a roof over their head and let them come when they was down. I tell people, when you get married, and this is one of the biggest problems of a lot of people, God say, whatever two people that he has joined together should not be able to put asunder. He tell you, you're supposed to be building with that other person, your spouse. You did not marry their family. You're not obligated. God told this man, for this cause you should leave your mother and your father. God called us to honor thy mother and thy father. But guess what? When you get married, your spouse come first. And you have to go to God and ask God, should you be doing this for this person? Because some people in your family is just leeches. We all seen the movie Jumping the Broom. That man and that woman, they being ready to get married. They was happy as they want to be. Each other's soulmates. And his mama came in and was like a nightmare. And brought havoc through the whole family. Even her side of the family. Secrets come out. And some things is not secrets. I tell people, look, first of all, some people made decisions and asked someone don't say nothing because they was ashamed, and some people held it. And then later on want to come back and look like you treating them wrong because you raised their kids. You didn't want the kids to know you was their mama. Yeah, I'm telling them how it is. And the problem with a lot of family is you're too busy trying to take care of your dope fiend brother, your and I say jailbird, prison bird uncle, your conniving niece that's on EBT living in the project with 10 kids by 10 different men. Sometimes you got that mother who's trying to make a husband out of their sons. Daddy hustling and trying to be a Laban like Laban in the Bible was to Jacob, trying to hustle and use them and set them up. And they lose many years and end up spending the rest of their life dealing with a curse because of the daddy. When you become an adult, part of being an adult is putting people to the side. Stop visiting people if every time you come back, you got to have an argument. Because those are demons walking back with you. People love to stir up trouble. And sometimes, because of the immaturity of our spouse, God will have us a divorce. And it's for our good. Some people just got to keep getting one up on you. Even if you leave, they can't stand to see you happy. Some people become fatal attractions. So when that door opens, sometimes God got to lure them out, make them chase and run away from you in order for you to have a life. I know divorce is not easy. I know it can be expensive. But which is more expensive? You maintaining your sanity, your health, your wealth. I mean, some people got to pay a good settlement, but we, as citizens of God and people, we have to go start now trying to put some laws on the book. We got to start signing petitions because it don't make no sense. If you was rich when you married somebody, you shouldn't have to give up half your items you had before marriage, and you shouldn't have to sign a prenup because they was already yours. It's funny how the government always try to give your stuff away, but they got 1,000 ways why they can keep theirs. You know, the government, if you tell them they have gun laws, they can keep their guns, but they always trying to figure out why you can't protect yourself. War going on in the land, but then they don't want nobody to have no guns. So if they come over here and start the war over here, what are we going to do to defend ourselves? It's amazing how people sit in government officials and try to tell teachers, don't you say nothing to that third person child. And you got teenage boys standing 6 feet tall trying to grape you. Fighting female teachers because they never had daddies at home to teach them how to be a man. And they think that their bodies, they're equal to a woman. See, a man that put his hand on a female, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about that man. That man is not a man. He's not very intelligent. He's not fighting his equal. He's trying to prove something to some low-vibing people that he's somehow great because he's abusive to a female, the weaker vessel. But then you get that same man, vast majority of them, they're not going to fight no man. Usually men that fight females don't fight men. And that's a fact. That's what I be talking about. But they want to do this to females, and you see yourself at 27, 30 years, been in a relationship with that man 3, 4 years. They were fatal attraction, did all kind of set you up. We know we have family. You trying to get away from somebody like Tina Turner, and then mama and sister give him all the information and set you up to be in that. But you go through and your body, by time you 27, 30 years old, you bent over double. You have all kind of health problems gone, feel all kind of pain because you got arthritis and set and bones and ribs and joints where you have been mistreated violently. But we're living in the day now that God is saying, I'm finna separate some marriages. I'm finna give a divorce. And saying no more. Because these devils, because of the lack of integrity and character, because see, what people ain't, they talking about Generation Z. But the truth to the matter is, most of Generation Z parents were the crack parents they made raps about. Okay? They wasn't fit to be parents. And we know what drugs do to you. You leave out, you don't have the integrity. You lose your God in the midst of that. That's what drugs do. Drugs don't just deteriorate your body and alter your mind and you addicted and you don't have no lifestyle. They pull the God out of you. They make you run from God. They make you make choices that God will put you out. And some people, oh, they clean when you marry them. And they tell you, I've been sober for 10 years and be telling you the truth. And get married 6 months later, they family come over. They put stuff in their food, they drink, and everything else. Invite them over to this and open up that can of whoop butt on you. All I can do is pray for your healing and just say some people, when God tell you to let go, just let go. Don't live 10 years still married to someone that's not there. That's foolishness. You can't give nobody integrity. You can't make a man out of. I'm sorry. I just dropped my phone. I seen a net. Oh my God. Them nets down here, they be all in your hair and everything. If you don't wear that spray, no net spray, it's just horrific. But I apologize for that. Let me get back on the subject about divorce. You're going to have to, in this day and age, as deep as you love, I pray God give us women and men that really was good to people, a support system. So when we do, or if we have to go through, we can have someone there to motivate us to continue on, to not cry, to find ourselves again. And why people do what they do? Some people just evil. Some people just the devil's very own. Some people God really have to knock the you're going to have to find out who God really is before they act like they halfway got sense. And I have seen it. I done seen God have to do some terrible things to people. And next thing you know, that person be talking about, yeah, but God is good. They get through going through. Some people don't learn unless they learn the hard way. And something I have learned over the years, and I thank God that I come from a people that loves peace. Sometimes you just got to step out the way and let them learn their life lesson. Sometimes you just have to be quiet. And when you got somebody who's a novice in office, which is a know-it-all and don't know nothing, trying to fake it before they make it, you know, the lies that the other generations taught. And they find out the hard way that some things you got to really learn about. Some things got to be established in you by God. Some people think they can hustle God. And God sometimes say, well, I learned to be real quiet. And people say, well, when they do this, what do you do? I said, I don't say nothing. I just zip my mouth and stand back and see what the wall going to look like. That's between him and God. I say it about my children. Yeah, I pray they come into repentance. I pray they don't have to learn the hard way. I pray that they respect the Most High, God. Okay? I pray that they be honorable children of a great character and in great good integrity, responsible, not a burden. And thus far, God has blessed me to see this. But along the way, and my sons will tell you, I don't take up for them when they wrong. I'm not going to be a partaker of nobody's sin. And I'm going to tell their wives if I'm around, if my son is mistreating you, then you should divorce. You should leave. Let God guide you first. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to tell you women, choose you. And I'm praying that you choose you and see what else God has for you. See, weeping may endure for a moment. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. That's all I'm going to say. And I know divorce is hard, and divorce is not always the answer. But sometimes the divorce is inedible with some people. Y'all be blessed. I'm that girl goddess. Bye.